Okay, guys, let's do a sound check because we've been doing some manipulations with this OBS system. We need to make sure we got everything going good.
Looking good. 1, 2. Okay, we're good.
Oh, it's sunny in Wales. Let's see, I need to see an audio. Somebody needs to mention the audio. Sound is good. Cool. Thank you, Aiton.
Thank you.
Aiton Michael. Sounds good. Thank you, Don.
Awesome.
Victoria Pamela. Simplicity revealed. Dr. Corey Stern, how you doing? I hear you and Matt are doing an Archaix.tv video, something we can't really talk about on YouTube. I heard you guys going off into poisons and stuff. That's pretty interesting. Mm-hmm. So, you guys know we like to stack the deck before we get really involved in our content. So I have some announcements to make, but before that, we got some really interesting things happening in Martin's neck of the woods. In Wales, we had some incidents. We've been on the news this morning checking it out. You know, this channel is really not about current events and news and all that, but you know, this is where he's from. So it's kind of interesting that he comes down to Texas, spend 30, 40 days with us, and all of a sudden his town's on fire. You want to tell us about it?
I live in an area of Cardiff called Ely, which is a large council estate, and it's all over, like literally the world news today. All of the British papers, that there's a full-scale riot ongoing. Apparently there was a head-on collision, 2 deaths, and that was enough to trigger my local community into burning everything. So everything's on fire, and it's only day 1. They're going to get back there tonight. Apparently it's Operation Storm the police station tonight in Ely. I've had the inside intel.
And while Wales is going through all kinds of chaos, Martin's over here in Texas doing stuff like this. Can y'all believe it?
Super weird.
Look at that.
Yeah, I know.
You see that right there? I got it on my phone, man.
I'm going to get that one with the Scooby-Doo bag with you.
Yeah, he caught a pretty interesting picture of me holding my Scooby-Doo lunchbox.
Off to work with your Scooby-Doo.
But hey, man, it's the mystery machine. We all like the mystery machine, right? We got to solve. That's what Archaix is about. That's what Flat Earth British is about. It's about solving the mysteries.
Yeah, man.
So,
definitely.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Hey, Funky Prepper. Man, you know what? Let me add you to my list real quick. This is my podcast list. This is just the people that have responded to me. But let me give you an example. You know, Funky, I'm going to put you in here right now so we can do another show. Funky Prepper. I want to show off some of my toys. Let's see. Funky Prepper. All right. I'll be doing a podcast. Pretty soon with The Melt. Also, Danny of the Unfuckers group. We'll probably do one for Archaix.tv and for the YouTube channel. She should be in the chat right now removing the shackles. I came representing the Unfuckers today. Pretty good group of people.
Yeah.
They're like a lot of small groups. They're trying to get down to the bottom of it, trying to figure out what's going on. So, Forbidden Knowledge News. I've been on that show 2 or 3 times. I'm going back. Also, the Paranormies. Paranormies. I think we're going to do about 3 or 4 shows of the Paranormies on Archaix.tv because we can't. Those guys there go deep on a lot of stuff. You just can't talk about it on YouTube. But I have some YouTube videos with them, and we're going to be doing another 1 or 2 YouTube videos with them pretty soon too. Germ Warfare, Micah Dank. Some of y'all don't know he's a basically like Santos Bonacci, astrotheology. I don't know a whole lot about it. I've looked into his material, and I remember him from 2 years ago before Facebook labeled me as a dangerous individual and it kicked me off twice. I remember Micah Dank hitting me up with messages back then, so we invited him to the channel, give us a presentation of what he's talking about. Beyond the Forbidden, I believe that's a new one for me. I'll be doing that podcast pretty soon. And when I say pretty soon, these are all within the next 2 weeks. Some of these are within a week. The Melt, though, is in September. Atlantic Underground, Alphabetic, Nick T. You guys know Nick T. He's the one that reads the Chronicon videos. I haven't heard back from Square Peg. I sent her a good email last night. She and I need to do a couple videos, but I hope it's the right. It's the earlier email. So Square Peg, if you're in the chat, please look at your emails because you got an email from me last night. Dr. Corey Stern, after you and Matt, yeah, we'll definitely do one for YouTube. You and I, Funky Prepper 2, And I got more people. I've reached out to brother Sanchez, and I have exchanged emails in the past. He caught me at my busiest when I was traveling, and then I had to catch up when I got back. So I kind of got late getting back to him. But I sent him an email last night telling him I'm ready to chat, whatever you want to talk about. He's got a pretty faithful following, some pretty level-headed people, critical thinkers. That's all that really matters. I want special thanks to Don Anderson. I received the books. I showed them to Martin. He is so jealous of all these old books, 1803, 1804 to 1850. These books were fantastic. And not only that, but you guys are all going to benefit from the gifts that Don Anderson has sent. In the 1920s, cigarette companies, when you bought a pack of cigarettes, you would get one of these cards in them. There's 50 cards. It's the whole collection. Each card is about one of the ancient mysteries in the world. And in the back is very good, highly detailed material about that mystery. Really, I could do a video off each card. And what I might do is I already have somebody, y'all know Big John. He's already photographing the front and back of each card to preserve them for integrity for PDFs. Martin gets copies of those. Martin gets copies of all my material lately. I've been sending him all this stuff, and he's getting copies of the PDFs and all my pictures. So it's you guys are going to get a video. I'm going to read the back of all these cards and show, and we'll see in 1920s. It's really interesting how things have been watered down. In the 1920s, all these mysteries were already known. But if you go across YouTube right now, you would think these are things people just discovered. It's not true. It's all in here. It's amazing. These are from cigarette packs in the 1920s. I have another one called Lost Treasures, which is from the 1930s. He's photographing that one right now. You guys are going to receive those two videos and maybe more from those decks. And I'll be sending Martin home with a PDF of all those images as well. We need to preserve things like that. That's a part of our history.
Yeah.
Jay Hart, thank you very much for the donation package. Jay Hart's been a steady contributor to the channel. She has contributed a lot, like Don Anderson, to the Archaix library. Find some really good, unique books and magazines and things I can share with you guys. And that's what it's all about. It's Jahar Ali, thank you for your donation. Thank you for the presents and gifts you've sent. It says you two have really been a boon to the community. I really thank you for that. The coins. All 100% of all domestic orders were sent out yesterday. They're gone. You guys are already in the mail. Don't worry about the PayPal hangups. Don't worry about all that. We've already shelved that. Just moving forward. The coins for domestic are on the way. Tomorrow, because the international slips they're terrible trying to fill them out. Tomorrow, you guys, all the international Archaix challenge coins will be mailed out tomorrow. It's taking us all day and all night to do the slips. So don't worry about your coins, guys. Just because we had a little hiccup doesn't mean you're not getting your stuff. You are. So anyway, we got something else going on right here in Texas. We want to tell them about it?
Yeah, man. We got a meetup coming up on the 10th of June. Myself and Jason, we're going to present. We're going to meet up with a load of you, and it's going to be a very special event. It's going to be the new Summer of Love 2.0.
Oh my God, you did not say Summer of Love.
I did. I did.
Oh, all right. Oh yeah, guys, it's a meetup. Yeah. We haven't given a lot of people time to prepare like we did for my first meetup, but that's okay. We are taking. Last time it was you had to get on the meetup deal and do all that. This time you can come in cash. Cash will get you in the door. It's either way, or you can go to the meetup site. But we haven't announced the exact venue because we have 4 or 5 different locations that are viable at this point. We're trying to figure out attendance before we decide on each one because each one of them is priced differently. But other than that, it's going down on June 10th, and we've already got some pretty interesting emails and messages from people in the Truther community who plan on stopping in. So you might just see more than just Jason and Martin.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, I think that's all. That's it.
The coins.
Yeah, Archaix coins. I've already mentioned those. Yeah, we still sell them. It's just we have other payment options. PayPal was just one. I mean, our PayPal still works. It's just not the PayPal for the coins. It was a totally different PayPal. The Archaix PayPal still works, but not the Archaix data PayPal. But anyway, that's enough on the coins. We can go on there. 823 people watching. Let's see. Oh, let's see here. Thank you, moderators. I can't really see who's all in here. You know, Matt normally takes care of these things. I'm playing Matt's role today because I'm about to get quiet, and Martin's about to take us for a ride.
I am.
And I know because he showed me some footage this morning that blew my mind from 1902. Man, you think horse and buggy and all that when you think 1902 until you see these pictures. This video is amazing. Mm-hmm. I need you to leave a copy of that video too.
Yeah, of course.
I definitely need a copy of that.
You got
video.
it anyway on the files.
I already have it in the files.
Yeah, everything's on it.
It'll take me months to get through your files.
All right, I'll give it to you again so you know where it is.
I'm going to get to it. Believe that. All right, we're steady growing. We're getting there. Okay. Oh, removing the shackles. Okay, Danny, I see you're in there.
Yeah.
Pamela Swan, thank you. Simplicity revealed. Hey, we've been missing you. Where you been, girl? You're over there in Europe, aren't you? Pamela Swan, thank you. Victoria Z, thank you. Wendy Flores, never gonna miss a live. Victoria's never gonna miss one unless she's just sleeping. Unless we're at a terrible time. Shiva Shampoo, Shiva, I'm adding you to the list, man. I'm adding you to the list right now because it's been past time you and I did a video. You and Clayton, Phoenix Protocol. If you out there, I'm adding you to the list, man. We should do a video. You have grown quite a bit since you have been in the Archaix community. You're like a leader of the community, man, in the Discord group, and people should hear your testimony, man, about the things you have witnessed and the things that you have learned, and how Archaix has actually modified some of your beliefs. And I'm gonna add you to the list. Shiva, you'll be getting that email from me, brother. And Clayton, Phoenix Protocol, you too. All right, man. You know what?
Cool.
I'm real close to just giving you the floor, and I'm gonna do something that's very uncharacteristic.
Cool.
I'm gonna shut up.
Wow.
Like that? Yeah, man.
It's on me, man.
Let's see. All right. Woohoo! Unfuckers United. All right, man. You know what? You already know how to. You've got a mastery of the OBS system. You already know. You already got all your images ready. There's really nothing left to do, guys. Guys, this screen back here is not what you're going to be looking at. But using the OBS system, as he's giving this presentation, we're going to disappear, and you're going to see what he's showing you, but you're going to hear him talking about it.
Okay, you ready, guys? Have your mind blown? Good.
Let's do it. It's all about you.
Okay, let's get stuck in. So what I want to talk about today is... I don't know if that's coming up. No, it should be there. Is American city fires, American city disasters. That should be coming up. Is it there?
It's an awesome picture.
I mean, it is an awesome picture.
Hey, just so we know everything's working right in the chat, let us know you see that image. Then we'll know we're doing good.
I'm not seeing my image. I'm not seeing it. It's not coming up.
Do you guys see a black and white photo right now?
Nope, it's not up. Okay. Where's Matt?
Yeah, it just says yes. We see the image. Yeah.
Okay.
No, somebody else says not yet. Nope, not yet.
No.
All right, Matt, we're going to need your assistance.
I'm on pick one.
He's on pick one, but they're not seeing the image. All right.
Yeah, just remember hit transition there.
Oh, right.
Oh, that's all it was.
Taraz, it's got to be on the
okay.
left-hand side. Oh, okay. So as you can see here is a picture of Chicago following the Great Chicago Fire of 1871, which was a wider event because there was a natural disaster happening at the same time, the Prestigo Forest Fire, which was just to the west of Chicago. So I can't help thinking that this is all just one greater event. Now, what I'm going to propose and show you now, guys, is as creepy as it may sound and as weird as it is, most American cities seem to have been completely destroyed during the late 1800s. And I mean most of them. The centre bits, completely gutted. Okay? And there is a strange MO with the pictures that I'm going to show you. They all share the same MO, which is clear streets. Okay, everything falling in its footprint and everything being reduced to tiny little bricklets is what you find. So that's the Chicago fire. Now, the entire city has been destroyed, rebuilt, destroyed, and you can see the same sort of MO for most of the cities which we've been looking into in America. What you can see there is the top picture is of Chicago, 1871. The bottom picture is of 9/11. And what you find is there seems to be a consistency with the damage that you see in these cities and the damage that we witnessed when the towers fell.
That is amazing.
Okay, it is amazing. So let me just whiz through. Now, let's transition. Okay, excuse me. Pick 3. Okay. So this image here, you can see here, is Richmond, Virginia, during or just prior to the American Civil War. Now, the city was razed to the ground, but what you can see in the background, considering this is supposed to be Richmond, Virginia, is what looks like a temple of Apollo or a Greco-Romano temple in the background. And again, you know, this is supposed to be attributed to cannon shot fire, which is apparently destroying massive masonry buildings, which we're not buying. We think there's another sort of weaponry, which we're going to talk about in this post, going on. And I'm going to propose the motive, the way they did it, and what I think is going on. So that is Richmond, Virginia. And what you see is a pile of cannonballs here on the left-hand side. You can see some old cannons and that. But what you see for the city is just utter devastation. It is just, it's hard to even imagine. So let me just bring up picture number 4. Is 1861, Charleston in South Carolina, also attributed, they say, to the American Civil War. Again, massive masonry city. You know, they show us in the movies that, you know, the Wild West, 1860s, you know, saloon bars, wooden shacks, but that is not the reality. You've got big brick and stone structures all over America of what is an older world, guys. This stuff was there already. So again, same MO, completely cleared streets. So what, did they have a load of bulldozers come in like in the days of horse and cart? You know, the effort to clear an entire city's streets of rubble. I can't even imagine, because in World War II, it didn't take them for like a following year to clean up the streets of Germany. So I can't imagine what is going on.
Rebuilding a city requires more effort than building it to begin with, because first you got to clear the rubble
Well,
out.
this is it. But they can reuse the rubble that's there and, you know, clean it, dress it up, etc. So, and reuse it, which they do.
It's amazing.
So there's Richmond. Let's repeat it, excuse me. So, also Portland in Maine. Portland, Oregon was completely destroyed, and Portland in Maine as well was completely destroyed. And it is just unbelievable at the size of those buildings and that architecture. This is supposed to be for the antique world, guys. And then everything is seemingly a fire, okay? And all of them, the stories, the narratives behind these fires are absolutely ridiculous. We'll look at the Chicago narrative shortly. But, you know, with Boston, Portland, Chicago, all identical. Everything is reduced into tiny little bricklets. Okay, this is a fire does not do that. Okay, a fire does not reduce large stone structures into tiny little bricklets and then leave the streets clear. Things are falling in their footprints. There is obviously something else going on, and the weird, the weirdness that.
Look at this architecture in the back that's untouched.
Unbelievable. And there's just like, it seems like it's selective. You can get areas The Boston photographs are quite good for showing this, that are completely wiped off the face of the earth, and then literally next to it is a building that's completely untouched.
It's just like the California fires that were showing whole neighborhoods destroyed and trees were untouched.
That's going to come up, the picture of Paradise, shortly.
Wow.
As part of this narrative. So what I'm suggesting, this is the first Chicago fire, 1851, destroyed 2,000 buildings. So dig, the entire of Chicago gets completely destroyed. Then it all appears again, only to be destroyed in 1906 in the Great Fire and Great Earthquake of San Francisco. So it's burned down, it's rebuilt, it's burned down, it's rebuilt. It makes no sense. Okay, and all of the American cities are got the same MO. It makes literally 0 sense. So that is the first fire of San Francisco. Columbia, 1865, another large city, completely destroyed by the American Civil War. Again, everything falls in its footprint. Again, all of the streets are clear. I definitely think there's something more going on with the American Civil War. We're on Paranormies, aren't we, Sunday?
Yes, Sunday we'll be on with Paranormies talking more about the Civil War and
Exactly
what we believe
that.
really happened.
Yeah, so that'd be interesting. And the narratives behind, the reasons why these cities get, blitzed off the face of the earth. In this case, there's an accident milking a cow. So you've got superior architecture, massive masonry, yet there's an old lady milking a cow. And then there's an accident and the entire of Chicago burns down. Similar narratives for Boston, similar narratives for all of the city fires, just really silly reasons for why the fire started. It makes 0 sense to me. So, 1835, the second fire of New York, although later photographs, basically the later fire photographs were around and there's not one photograph available anywhere in the world for the second Great Fire, the third Great Fire. This is the second, 1835. All of New York is destroyed, rebuilt, destroyed, and rebuilt, but included in the photographic journal, yet there's no photographs to show us. I wonder why that would be. Okay, the next one. So this is another one of Columbia, American Civil War, 1865. I definitely think we're going to talk about that in that Paranormy show, but I definitely think there's more going on than they told you with the American Civil War. So again, massive masonry buildings, everything, just the interior of the building seemed to be disappeared, similar to what was witnessed in 9/11. The curtain walls, some of them are remaining, and the streets are cleared. Everything else is just turned to bricklets and dust. So I'm going to propose that this is deliberately caused. And probably, I'm thinking from the air, probably. Okay, let me just get that picture up. This one. Okay. Charlestown again. And this one is, again, the year the American Civil War finished. Charleston, the size on this architecture of this place in Charleston, South Carolina. And, this place, I just can't get over. Okay, they got mud flood attributations, what we call them, lower windows. You have to go downstairs to get in the front door. But everything, considering this is like the American Civil War, to me that looks like that place has been left to nature for years. The everything has grown over. It seems like the years passed by. And it seems to me, that this is a reset image. The whole world or the whole of these cities got destroyed. And they got, basically a narrative for the American Civil War or whatever. Stupid disasters caused by stupid reasons that make no sense to man or beast.
So to interject, for those of you unaware with how there's crossover between what Martin is talking about and the Archaix research, it's in 1902, there were 2 foundations. One of them was the Rockefellers, and I can't remember the other one.
Rothschild?
Carnegie.
Carnegie, yeah.
I'm sorry, there were 3. The Rothschilds were involved as well, but Andrew Carnegie as well. And what we have found is thousands of modern libraries that were instantly funded and created and built, and all these publishing companies just come out with a plethora of new history books and new versions of older texts, all in 1901, 1902, 1903, up to about 1917. And it's almost, and basically what we're proposing is that a revised historical narrative was funded and put in place all over the world to cover up the very events of the images you're seeing right now. I just wanted to interject that.
Okay, so yeah, the fires like 1870, year before the Chicago one, all consumed. And I find it notable that, you know, with all of these fires, it always seems to be the central downtown area and the business district that gets destroyed. The same for San Francisco, the same for Boston, the same for all of these cities. There's got to be something in there. So how would they be able to destroy a city if it was done deliberately through artificial means? How would they do that in that day and age when the whole world is in horse and cart and the aeroplane hasn't been invented yet, apparently? So I definitely think they're doing it from the air. So here's Atlanta, Georgia, and that suffered apparently General Sherman in the official narrative. You know, this is the Sherman neckties where he ties all the railway lines in knots, cuts a swathe across the south of America and destroys everything apparently in his path. But what is showing again is that same MO of everything falling in his footprint and utter destruction, guys. Just phenomenal for what they're saying the animates are like for that day and age. Just makes no sense to man or beast. So 1849 St. Louis fire, not the only fire. And what is notable, most of these cities have been wiped out and had a great exhibition in the city following a great fire. I think there might be something in that. 1849 St. Louis, great fire. Nothing, absolutely nothing left of the centre of St. Louis. And then later on, they get one of the most famous great expositions just prior to that. 1845, Pittsburgh. No photographs. Photographs are actually around, or lithographs are 1845. There could have been a plate glass image taken. One thing that I want to bring to attention, apparently the official American Civil War photographs that we witnessed today were found in the roof of a greenhouse in Maryland in America. So somebody had all of the record of the American Civil War in glass plates, and they'd made a greenhouse with it. A lot of them have got faded, a lot of them apparently got destroyed, but that is apparently our best source for American Civil War photography.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It is crazy, and it's hard to believe also. 1845, Great Fire of New York. Okay, no actual pictures. So that's the secondary fire. 10 years later, New York destroyed, explosions, all of the rest. Anomalous, no reasons for it. No photographs are available of New York being destroyed. So that is questionable, why some of the most important events have no photographic record for them, only pictures and engravings. Nantucket Island, Massachusetts, or Maine actually, 1846, completely wiped out off the face of the earth. And these are not the only ones, guys. I could go on and on for ages. Philadelphia, 1850, completely destroyed. And it really does look like there's something happening from above, which I'll show you now. Okay, so Philadelphia, this one is Troy, New York, 671 buildings destroyed, 1862. I don't think they could actually attribute this to the American Civil War because it's too far up in New York State. I don't think it actually was affected there. So again, the business district, the centres of these cities completely melted and destroyed. Just unbelievable devastation. Denver, which is a Tatarian city. You know, if you look at Denver today, it's predominantly red brick in the centre. It's actually a really beautiful city, is Denver. So they say these buildings are built, 1800s, late 1800s, but yet the entire city was destroyed in 1863, according to the Photographic Journal. Makes no sense to man or beast. And then you get these anomalous photographs. This one here is the fire in Boston. Okay, 1872, another major fire, city completely razed to the ground. But you see these unusual customers in these shots. This one, he's got his hand inside his coat, suggesting that this is a Masonic or Masonic intervention with this. And it's dates as well. Some of the dates you can correspond to, astronomical phenomena. They put some of these destructions on certain dates, like they do with major battles. So there, Boston, again, major fire, city destroyed, but you can see these giant bits of masonry that they're sitting on, and everything turned to bricklets. And what looks like just literally melted stonework. You can close up on some of these, and the stonework is literally bubbling. So whatever has hit these buildings is A, been from above, B, has disaggregated it, okay, or literally turned it, the smaller stuff into bricklets. Everything else was a bigger size, like the lintels, etc. They're all still on the floor. Everything else disintegrated.
It's crazy.
So that's quite a frightening technology to think that, there's something like that about there then in them days. But I think the technology that caused this is a much ancient technology, if ancient is real, which I don't think it is. So there's a great fire of Chicago there, and you can see that the entire city is razed to the ground and there's nothing left. It is quite unnerving when you see all American cities destroyed in such a manner. Now, what could be doing it? Well, ballooning. Balloons were the transport of the old world. They got rid of this in 1930 with the crash or the burning of the Hindenburg. Now, I've already posted a couple of months ago that the Hindenburg disaster is actually showing two separate pieces of film. Okay, it can't not be a real event. It's a fabricated event, and all of the media that turned up, and the famous the Humanity, which was an edited video and was released a day later, even though we could have gone live with the biggest disaster you could imagine, is too much of an alarm call for me. This thing's a psyop. So what you see here is old newspaper articles from the First World War. And what you see is Zeppelin attacks, okay? And they're releasing Archaix. So Archaix, and we'll look into it in a minute, is essentially a direct energy weapon. It's something that can turn matter into dust. Now, they really do exist because you can get a Archaix in your microwave oven. This is your magnetron. There are experiments you can see on YouTube. Some young Russians boys, they took the magnetron out of the microwave oven, pointed it at like literally metal paper clips, and the metal paper clips melted. And that's out of your microwave. This is Archaix technology, an electromagnetic technology. And this is what they were using in these Zeppelins. There's also newspaper articles reported at the time which will tell you that basically Zeppelins were shot down using Archaix also from the ground. So you can see Zeppelins coming over, shooting a high intensity beam at a building, and they're always these large Tatarian buildings, and igniting it. And these were the Germans' long arm, feared by all England. So a giant Zeppelin that was coming over England and basically lighting buildings up with its technologies. There's plenty of evidence for these Archaix balloons. So I think they were using these in the Americas. I think that, if they were there in 1915 during the First World War, it doesn't, it's not a great leap of the imagination to think that they were there 20 years before, okay, when they were definitely using balloons 20 years before. So here over Calais in France, you can see a Zeppelin attack, First World War. You see that massive Tatarian town hall taking a direct hit and bursting into flames. You can see another target over there on the right-hand side picture, another beam of light hitting a building and literally exploding it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've never seen these pictures.
No, not many have. And the Zeppelins, this was shot down over the Mersey and in the Wirral in England. Giant Zeppelins with this Archaix technologies. They don't really want to tell you about in the official narrative because they don't want to admit that technology exists. So we think also in what I regard as a golden age of free energy, which we'll be looking into elements of. It was a real thing. I can prove that now. And these belfries, towers without bells in, that you see everywhere in Christendom. And what we think they were landing platforms for balloons. So it wasn't fly to your airport, have to travel home. I mean, the balloon would take you direct to your destination and where you need to be, even to your home, which I'll show you in some of these pictures. So we definitely think that was the case. Now, modern day equivalent, this is Paradise in California. Again, similar to the photographs of the American cities, things literally falling in their footprint, trees all around the areas of these incinerated, this incinerated town, completely unaffected. You can get two houses next to one another. They've completely disappeared off the face of the earth, but the trees between the properties are completely unharmed, proving that this cannot be a forest fire. Something else has been happening, and I think it's deliberate, and I think it's part of the narrative. If you want to think Agenda 20 whatever, that they're clearing California eventually, put it in a superhighway, everyone else is going to be moved further east. This is part of the agenda, apparently. So what you see here is a vision, okay, from a famous artist. Can you see these images coming up? Are they on there?
There's only a slight delay with mine.
Okay.
You're showing.
Yeah, okay, I got that images of it. So this is a British artist, and he envisions the time that I'm talking about of great Tatarian buildings, free energy, and balloon transport, which I definitely think was the case. I think that they definitely didn't want to carry on because, they wanted to push jet planes and aeroplanes for, fuel and everything else. And balloons, they're quiet, they're safe, they're efficient on money, and they're a brilliant way to travel. Of course, would they want that? No. Okay, here's an example of balloons. This one is, it looks like it's flying over the Arc de Triomphe, or one of them. I think this is the Arc de Triomphe. But they will give you the narrative, in the official narrative, of Montpellier brothers, being the pioneers of early ballooning. But we found evidence of that, of British, of balloons being used way, way back. And they're something half between a ship and a balloon. So...
well, even if the Da Vinci narrative is not true, we still have the Da Vinci illustrations.
Yeah,
whoever Da Vinci was, of Zeppelin.
Yeah. And also helicopters in the Da Vinci.
Yes.
Da Vinci engravings, or whatever they are. So we get the great expositions, which have these large exhibition halls, which are large greenhouses or crystal palaces. They are anomalous because of the effort gone into putting them up, okay? Most of these crystal palaces, New York's Crystal Palace, fire, destroyed. London's Crystal Palace, fire, destroyed. Because apparently glass and metal burns. Okay. So I think everything after a reset, buildings that are left on the ground, they just get repurposed from whoever arrives next. And I think that these buildings were potentially originally holders for large balloons and dirigibles of the era. Because I can show you that the balloons they were using were exceptionally big. Here's one at the Great Expositions. They had large balloon exhibits at these expositions. But the buildings, unbelievable technology, divine principles. This one, and you can see on the right-hand side, has 4 towers, which are 4 angels. These are electromagnetic technologies. If these are copper or metal, or even got metal wrapped around on the inside, will cause magnetism, which will 4 of these on each tower, which will be the 4 angels technology. So this is an energy producing unit, if you like. I'll show you more evidence for free energy right now, which is here. So balloons, they can be used for collecting charge. Okay, what we see here is aerostat. Aerostat was used in the past for collecting electrostatic potential in the air, which is high up. The higher up you go, the more electromagnetic potential is available. So it makes perfect sense to send a balloon up to catch the charge out of the subtle ethers, transport it down to a wire. You can see there they put it into basically units where the energy is saved and they can run a city free wow. from balloons, and they were using it. Free energy. Why aren't they doing that now? Well, we know the answer to that, don't we? So here's another example of aerostat here, which is an energy gathering balloon. They'll have a wire on it. It will be ascended. It will catch a charge. The charge will be transversed down the wire and will be collected into some sort of battery or terminal and used later. So free energy used by balloons as well. Okay. Here's another example of free energy. Okay. Producing rain by electricity and X-rays using balloons. Like I said, many applications. Today, how many applications for balloons are there? Like literally zero. Wonder why that would be.
Yeah, well, I disagree. NASA uses them
Loon
for
balloons.
satellites.
Yeah, okay, for our satellites. But you know the loon balloons, they've literally stopped it. They stopped the program.
Really?
Like last month or something. Yeah.
Is that why they're saying the ISS had to come down and all that?
Well, when all of that stuff happened, apparently the Chinese balloons. Can you remember that?
Yeah.
A month ago?
Yeah.
So they stopped the loon balloon program at that time. They say. So I don't know. But they have been crashing down lately, you know, in Brazilian gardens, etc. So that's the vision we see of how it was in the past. Other people have envisioned this. It's a free energy society, okay? Everything growing well, everyone in good health and well-being. I do feel that the people of this realm at this time had protective clothing, protective bed covers and everything, because I think the electromagnetics may have been a lot more active than they are in this day and age, post canopy era. So what you see here on these gantries, you can see on these buildings. Now, what I will show you now is a balloon can literally deliver you to your property. Here's evidence here from a newspaper or an article saying the Zeppelins were shot down over Paris using Archaix. I'm not sure if you can see that, but that's under that red line. So evidence in the newspaper that they were using actual Archaix. Now, if you don't know what Archaix are, it's a double-sided coin. There's a good side and a bad side to Archaix technology. The good side is this. So if you imagine a Archaix, like the Roman Archaix, is a bundle of rods bound together, which is what you see here with this church organ. Now, with churches, they say that they're places of worship, where you go to do religion. That's not what these buildings were originally built for. Again, they'd be repurposed. Again, post-reset, the new arrivals or whoever come in, they find these organs in place. They don't rightly know what is going on with them. They fitted a harpsichord underneath them. Boom. Then you got this technology. But before then, there was something completely different going on. These are a resonance, a harmonic technology. Organs are good for your organs. If you're in there and that vibration is passing through you, it'd be good for your health. Okay. In fact, anything beginning with org, it's good for. Okay. So that is the technology of churches. So churches, cathedrals, cathodes, churches are essentially machines, church machines, resonating machines to produce a sound quality that eventually could be transversed out into the ether through the windows, which I'll show you examples of. Another thing that looks like the Archaix is the Atlantic subterranean or the underwater cables that cross the Atlantic. This is a sample of the first ones that were laid apparently by the Great Eastern, the famous ship that Brunel built, the biggest ship that ever was. And these cables apparently lay on the bed of the Atlantic all the way from Britain and all the way to Newfoundland, so they say. So there is meant to be a mid-Atlantic mountain ridge, so I'm not sure how these wires go up and down mountains all safe. But if you look at it that way, okay, you can see that it's rods all the way around, bound, and what you can see is a few rods in the center. And if you look at it that way, it's identical to what we see with church windows. Okay, it's identical to a cymatic pattern. So there's a bigger clue of that. I actually think that these things were down there already, and I don't believe the narrative for Brunel laying them. Trains and transport. So before we had steam trains and before we had diesel trains, we had pneumatic trains. Trains that worked on air, which would comfortably and quietly propel you from New York to Chicago, no problem, using air. And then they got rid of that. So it seems that we had a lot of technologies that were really, really, beneficial to humanity in the past that they've got rid of. It was better before. So Can you imagine living in that street? An electric train passes, comes up to your window and drops you off literally at the property you live in. Just quietly up, quietly back. And all of this wrought iron, all of the decoration is all part of a technology. It's not strictly for aesthetics, pleasing to the eye. This, wrought iron, this stuff catches the subtle energies. They literally put Solomon sigils into their wrought iron to basically affect the subtle ethers before they arrive to us. So basically, balloons, exactly the same way. They would have come down the street, dropped you off at a belfry. There's, you can see photographs of air balloons dropping off people to the top of the Empire State Building in New York City. You can see them dropping them off on the tops of skyscrapers in LA, Santiago, all over America. Balloons, even the Graf Zeppelin, until, it blew up, would be pull in, top of skyscraper, just drop everybody off in the center of the city. Or, alternatively, before then, drop you off at your house, which would explain all of them steel verandas that you see all around so many of these old world properties. New Orleans, all of them have got these steel verandas all the way around them.
Amazing.
It is.
You're getting some donations in here.
Awesome.
Yeah, awesome. I guess I'll just be giving you the cash.
Yeah. I'm out on a limb. So we're winning. We're winning. So balloons, look at this massive Tatarian building in the background here, just put out in the middle of nowhere. You've got mud behind it. I can see that it's a seaside hotel, but there's something else going on with them. These are all over Britain as well. This is the Polar Palace Hotel, and it's got the balloon delivering people direct to a holiday destination. Also, you can get thousands of people in a balloon all at one time. You can literally have balloons that big in the past. This one here, 5,000 people rode it.
Damn.
I got pictures of earlier than that in the Napoleonic era. Literally, on one ship itself, 16,000 people. That many. You could literally invade a country using balloons. All you need to do is get balloons, come over. So the technology I'm talking about is this, Medusa tech. Okay, now the Medusa, as you know in their analogies, she's a lady with serpentine hair. You need to look at her in a reflection. Theseus can't take her out unless he looks at her through the mirror image in his shield. If he looks at her direct, what happens? He gets turned to stone. It's an analogy for a technology that will discorporate, disaggregate, or turn things to stone, or alternatively dust as well. This is the Medusa tech. This is what it's all about. And you can see directly below the Medusa there, these rods which were bound, which are fasces, which I'll give you a little idea of how this is working shortly. So yeah, I definitely think that these air balloons were kept in these large, massive, look at the size of the people. The people are actually just tiny little dots in this massive steel and glass exhibit hall, where they're exhibiting the actual transport of the day, which is air balloons. Now, the fasces is definitely the most dangerous weapon, I think, of the whole of the antique world in history. I think they're using a similar technology today. As I said, it's not fictitious technology. You got one, a fasces, a magnetron in your microwave oven that does exactly the same thing and looks exactly the same as a fasces. They tell you in halls of power where the power comes from. Here in the Senate building, or in the Congress building, excuse me, you can see an S and an S there in laurel leaves, but they're opposing one another. They're complete opposites, mirror opposites. Also, the fasces are facing one another in complete polar opposites, okay? Like mirroring one another. They're not left and left. They're always facing one another. Opposing magnetic fields. They're showing you in this hall of power that these are electromagnetic weaponry. Okay, just move on a second. And they've got some images of this technology being used in the past. Here in Napoleonic battles, you can see fasces being released and starting fires and destroying cities. I've got some images of old Roman photographs where they're coming back. So how does it work? What is it? Well, in this case, it's copper rods. They're put together and they're bound, in this case, by brass. that will create an electric field, a magnetic field. Okay, all you need to do then is introduce a charge, an extra charge, get this directionalized, because apparently that's the main thing with Archaix is directionalization, and then you have an electromagnetic weapon. This is what they're using. That's what I'm proposing. The fascists, Adolf Hitler, and before them, Napoleon. He had the Archaix for his emblem of his regiment. Napoleon's emblem for the fascists was the fasce, because the word fascists derives from fasces, the electromagnetic weapon. Mussolini here, you can see he's got two Ethiopians from Abyssinia, a country that they really did think that was really important, but I think we know what was going on there with the history going on in Ethiopia. And you have two, what they call lictors, and these will carry the fasces. These are obviously wooden fasces, but they are symbolic of the power yielded by the fascists, the fasces. And going back to so-called Roman times, this was exactly the same technology. It's repeated. Here, there's the undersea cable I showed you, and it looks exactly like a church window. Okay, again, it's copper, it's cables, again, bound with a central core. This is Archaix technology, only in this case, it's using vibrational qualities to pass a signal, but it's exactly the same. There's two sides to the Archaix coin. There's the good side, good health, beneficial things with church organs, okay, because literally they would have been healing centers. You could have gone in them, been hit with the God note, and then you would have been literally in tears and probably having the best time in your life. So what we find with church windows is they completely and utterly match cymatic resonances. Now, if you don't know about cymatic patterns, you can carry this out. Basically, people put sand or iron filings on a steel plate, and they will introduce a sound or a frequency like 432, and the sand will exhibit the sound visually. And what you see is perfect, beautiful geometry. No sound has got the same geometry. Every sound or resonance has a different vibrational quality, and they all look like snowdrops. They look like they're as individual as snowdrops, but coincidentally, they are put in the front of all of these churches in Christendom. Now, the churches got the organs inside the church. Organs are playing rather loud, and then they pass through the lead-treated lead crystal or rose windows in the cymatic patterns, delivering outside into the community a resonance, an ether that will only be beneficial. If it was 432, well then everyone, even the plants, even, you know, the animals, the birds, the trees, the grass, everything would have benefited by this technology. So inside the churches, you get these beautiful, beautiful cymatic patterns, perfect geometry, and the organ is directly underneath it. So you get that, you know, that vibration going on, that resonance, and it passes through the window, out like a speaker, if you like, out into the community. And this would have been like, literally, like church bells do in the modern days. They were also a part of this technology. Out into the ether for beneficial purposes. Here's another example of a beautiful cymatic window pushing out into the ether, then beautiful 432 or whatever it is resonances. Now, churches had one note that they regarded, and it was removed from church organs in the 1700s. Apparently it was called the brown note, or regarded today as the devil tone. Apparently it was affecting females in a certain way. Okay, they were getting like, that feels really nice. So that wasn't, you know, too good in a church.
We'll keep that PG-13.
That wasn't too good in a church, so they got rid of the old brown note. But yeah, the benefits of these organs, as you can see in this image, it's like the fasces. It's shooting it out, you know, horizontally out into the people who are in the, who are in the church machine. And, some of these church machines, I felt, I've been into a lot of these old ones, and you can literally feel it inside your body, these church organs. And believe you me, years ago, these were ramped up. These were a lot louder than you might find today. Okay, this is a beautiful example here of what I call a Archaix device, which is, the decoration is fantastic, the gold leafing is fantastic, but again, horizontal, like organite energy splaying out into the ether. This will be blasting out good vibrations, good energies into the church itself. So that same technology that is good is also destructive. You know the narrative in the Holy Bible for Jericho. So the army goes around the walls of Jericho, blowing trumpets and banging drums. The resonance, of that sound caused a deaggregation. It caused the stone of this massive, which looks like a massive, classical architectured city, to crumble and be destroyed. This is the same technology that we're talking about with Archaix. Sound, resonance, vibration, which will make matter not even matter. Okay? And Jericho is the evidence that sound can, in fact, destroy stone and masonry. In the old maps, we find, here's a nice little azimuthal equidistant. So these maps here are late 1400s, 1500s, just prior to the Renaissance. They're really early. They're beautiful maps, but what they do show you is everything in this realm is green. There is not, in fact, any white bits or snow anywhere in the realm in these maps. But more interestingly, they show you the places that nowadays are covered in sand and large bodies of water are not the case at all. So you can see this here, and you see that everything is green. Africa, completely green. But interestingly, in the North Pole up there, if you can see, literally it's connected. Europe and the North American continent is connected, which is not in the modern day, obviously. And you've got this large body of land underneath. But if we get to Africa, you're going to wonder what's going on. So this is called a butterfly map, a beautiful azimuthal equidistant map. Okay, looking down, from the, on the North Pole perspective, a flat Earth map, if you like. But again, they're showing you that everything in this place is green, and there's no Great Lakes in America as well. They're not there in this period, and you can see the Iberian Peninsula here and the Straits of Gibraltar, but you can just make out Barbaria here on Morocco, and what you will see is an abundance of glittering palaces, all green. But what's most interesting with this image is there's deciduous trees on there, seasonal trees, like you get in Northern Europe, which you don't get in the Sahara Desert. So the climate was completely different 500 years ago, according to the maps. Okay.
I saw that phoenix on the bottom of that map you just showed a minute
Did you really?
Yeah.
There. Oh, yeah, it is. It is.
Bottom of the map.
Yeah, it is. There it is in the bottom, phoenix. Oh, yeah. So it is. Okay. See, so it's even coded there. Okay, let me get this North African photo up, map up. So North Africa. So that's the Sahara Desert. As you can see, it's covered with strange beasties, naked white people, because there's no black people in Africa in any of these old maps, and these glittering, massive, what look like European type cities. You've got all of these, this mountain range that comes through, which is apparently called Kong Mountain Range, and the abundance of forestry and deciduous trees, which are not really supposed to exist. So in the modern day now, it is a desert, and it's an encroaching desert. We don't know, in science they say they don't know how deserts happen, but they're encroaching, meaning they're getting bigger all of the time. All deserts are growing. It's anomalous. Not really, because I think the entire of North Africa, or Africa itself, I think was destroyed in a terrible apocalypse, and I think that the entire place was turned to dust, possibly using electromagnetic weaponry, because it's not sand. You have a dust storm in the Sahara Desert, proving that this is dust. This place in the Sahara is completely covered in buried Greco-Romano architecture. Okay, and the whole of the Sahara Desert and all of the Fertile Crescent, which is supposed to be, you know, the Holy Land, is now desert. It was supposed to be beautifully green, according to the narrative. And now, dust. Dust.
Well, in support of your thesis here, the Diodorus Siculus, Strabo, Herodotus, these ancient writers
Herodotus.
mentioned all of North Africa was a whole bunch of cities.
Yeah.
And the cities were all on the coast of what was called the Triton Sea.
The Triton, yeah.
And then
yeah.
something happened and the Triton Sea disappeared and was replaced with the Sahara Desert. But the Sahara Desert's interesting because it's got a massive amount of tektites. The green glass that looks
Yeah,
like
I've seen, yeah. There's
something melted the
melted
sand.
the glass, yeah. What's his name? Tutankhamun had a bit of this Libyan glass in his jewels.
Yeah, they call it Libyan glass.
Libyan glass,
Scientifically, it's tektites, but yeah, it's called Libyan glass.
So yeah, that's my proposal, guys. Is I think there's a deliberate destruction of American cities. I think it's part of the narrative. I definitely think in this case, in this instance, that there's been deployed some sort of electromagnetic technology to destroy this place. That is what I'm going to propose. So now I'm just going to show you a couple of movies just to finish off. We're going to show you movie one is... Okay, is it there? I don't think they are. They're not showing. So I don't think they're there. They're not. Okay, I'm not showing you those. We're going to go back to camera. We're going to come back for a little bit. And I'll sort that out in a minute. So there we are. That's my presentation for a minute. There we are, Jason.
All right. Oh, so we're not going to show the videos?
They didn't come up. I'm going to look now. I'm going to look now
All
while
right. Maybe Matt can find them.
Well, there you go.
Or you got
You might have to reload
video
them.
1, video 2?
No, it's not coming up, bro.
Oh, it's not coming up. Okay.
Not that. No. But we're on me.
No worries, no worries. No worries, mate. How you say it?
No worries, Cobber. Oh, that's
No worries,
Australian.
mate.
No worries, mate.
I've been learning. Oi, oi.
Oi, oi. It's wicked, isn't it?
That's good stuff.
Let's have a look at the chat feed.
That's good stuff. Oh, man, you got a lot of stuff in the chat feed. I'll be giving you some cash today.
Whoa.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I appreciate you guys for donating.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys.
Several people designated the donations as going to you.
I don't know. Is we back on now or what?
Yeah, we're back on.
Okay, I'm not seeing you on here.
You're not see on that feed?
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, right here. Oh, do you guys see us or do you see an image? We're still figuring out this OBS.
Okay, there we are.
Okay.
Thank you, Matt.
All right. All Matt had to do was look in the door, and he figured it out.
There you go. Good to see you guys.
Cool. So you guys in the Archaix presentations, I'm often explaining that it only takes 200 years for us to go from horse and buggy to Hadron Collider, and that nothing Martin has shown surprises you Archaix veterans. You already know, you have already seen the evidence. Not only that, but even the chronological materials. Technology is very ancient, and that what's going on the surface world seems to be subject to powers that are existing in technologically advanced societies in our own underworld. And I've shown you in the Archaix material that all the evidence points to an underworld civilization that's pulling the strings. It's controlling affairs on the surface, and yet it puts out a prodigious amount of agents, energy, and funding to make the people that dwell on the surface to believe that all these anomalous activities are coming from space, that are coming from extraterrestrials. When it's all cover story. All the ancient aliens material, this is why. Listen, I listened to a video very recently by Gigi Young. Now, I've never reached out to her, and I don't know if I ever will, but we have some crossover. Gigi Young went into specifics on one of her videos about how Eric von Daniken and Zechariah Sitchin, who basically spearheaded what became the Ancient Aliens crowd, were both funded by large organizations that did not have humanity's best interest at all. So there's a reason why Eric von Daniken and Zechariah Sitchin just exploded with millions of copies of their books, and why mainstream publishers picked them up. when they hardly pick up anybody else. I can't get a mainstream publisher not to publish anything about the Phoenix phenomenon or the reinterpreted Mayan long count or any of my 13 books. Ain't no mainstream publisher will touch it. Maybe my Awaken the Immortal Within, but I'm not going to jump ship. I'm going to stay with the smaller publishers that have been loyal to me. Yep. So, having said all this, Martin's only scratching the surface. I saw one comment where somebody said this is all anecdotal evidence. Oh. Listen, this is one out of thousands of presentations. If you're here listening to this presentation and you're looking for proof of a paradigm, you're in the wrong place. This is evidence in support of years of research and the collection. I have seen 55,000 files from this man, and I haven't had time to go through all of them, but I have them. And this is a lifetime full of research. But if anomalous material is presented and you don't have an answer for it, you can't expect this man to have an answer for all of it either. So it's a mystery. So if we have burned out cities, and we have many of them all over the world, and yet we see even the photographic evidence that something is very unusual, like trees and plants untouched when everything else is destroyed, which is the same thing we've seen in the American Midwest all the way to California in the last 4 years, with these whole neighborhoods going up in flames and cars melting in rose bushes, and every rose petal is absolutely unaffected. Listen, we have these anomalies going on today. The Zeppelins that he showed in these pictures are no different than the 13th and 14th century when the Great Black Death plague killed 1/3 of the world's population. Now, remember, I've shown you in my presentations, guys, great, large, huge, silent, cigar-shaped objects passed over the European cities and forests in the 12th, 13th, and 14th centuries, and they sprayed these mists, and they dropped from their underbellies decomposed animal body parts that had just were fetid. And the Great Black Death Plague, according to the historians of the time, was caused by that. Not the historians of the 1950s, 60s, and 70s, who will tell you it was infected rats on ships that had come from the Orient. So what I'm saying is we have genuine mysteries and there's a lot of crossover between the Flat Earth British material and Archaix. We're basically looking at the exact same phenomena from different perspectives. So the Phoenix phenomenon is not of human provenance. What he is showing are destructions that seem to be of human provenance, like human destructions, technologies, the fascists, vehicles hidden in the skies. We're talking about basically two different things. However, we are acknowledging that technology did not start in the 1800s. Technology is ancient, and we see the evidence of this everywhere. Especially Martin's got other presentations that'll just blow your mind on all the things that that are dated centuries and thousands of years old that cannot even be replicated today. Things that have been built. The video that we're not able to show was from 1902, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, maybe Matt can sort that out.
So, well, maybe we'll post it somewhere, but. It's unbelievable to see these electric trains and aerial train stations, and it's not a concept piece. It's an actual video of a city that we don't even recognize. The architecture is fantastic, and the train's just moving, and it's all in 1902, and it shows trains coming and going, and it's all in the air. It's suspended rails, and on these steel girders and platforms. It's amazing, this video he has.
Yeah, don't show it, man.
Yeah, you can't find a video. You can't.
No, there, it's just one shot.
Video. But I mean, think about Jules Verne, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Many of you know about Jules Verne. Captain Nemo in the Nautilus, this submarine that was technologically advanced, and the story that Captain Nemo gave and about technology and how these things were hidden from the rest of the world. Kind of makes you wonder, who's Jules Verne? And why is this material now sounding like it's fact, not fiction? We have many incidents from the historical record of authors who were promoting concepts and ideas that to the people on the surface world were really amazing. Here's the video here. Tell them about this video.
Well, it's a town, I can't pronounce it, Wiedelsberg, but it's near Dusseldorf, and this is like, it's supposed to be the Victorian era, but, have a look at the architecture as well, it's second to none, but it's an electric train. Everything below is horse and cart, yet you've got this massive masonry building, a beautiful large city, a massive viaduct as well, and electric sky stations. So what, did they deliver all of these girders by boat, by horse and cart? How the hell are they building this stuff, in what would have been the late 1800s when this was built? So I've seen other evidence. Liverpool had a sky train. I can't help thinking that, this was a mode of transport in the golden age. But look at this. Look at this for, over elaborate engineering. It's just fantastical. Imagine that. It's still there today. You can still go on it in the modern day. It's still there.
This train is?
Yeah, it's still there today.
Wow.
Yeah, there's colour footage you can see today. But it doesn't look half as impressive in the modern day as it does.
As it does right here in this picture.
It's just phenomenal. Let me just show that again if I can. Yeah, it's not coming up again, is it? Okay. Well, let's put us back on. So, yeah, that is just crazy. I think that's 1903, I think.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it is massive. It's just massive mind blow, that one. And
how do we get us back on there?
We are back on now. Our camera's back on.
Cool, because I can't see nothing.
Yeah.
I got a delay, though. I got to have a
Should be
delay
there.
on mine. Mine's delayed by about 10 seconds, I guess.
Okay, well, it should be there. That should be us. Okay.
Yeah, we're back on.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that is mind-blowing. The other image you've seen was evidence of free energy that had been captured in basically Phnom Penh in Cambodia. There's a temple there that has been charged and basically exhibiting Antiquitech, free energy, where it's been gathering. That was the first image you showed.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So you, somebody just plugged your, apparently you did a really good video on Niagara Falls, Antiquitech.
Yeah,
Okay,
and Lake Erie and the power plant. Yeah, I've done a lot of that.
Yeah, in ancient times, right there in that area, there were the largest copper mining facilities in the world were located in that area by the Great Lakes.
Yeah.
And the copper is found on the topsoil. And they literally mined it right there on the top. Yeah, it's crazy. They didn't even have to dig deep in some areas.
Let me do that.
Yeah, it was a 16th, 15th, 14th century BC, and it was probably most of the copper was shipped to the UK from North America, from the UK over to Europe, and from Europe down the coast all the way into the Mediterranean.
Oh, that's interesting.
And most of that copper has been traced now to be all throughout Achaia and Egypt.
Yeah.
That was the copper used for basically the Bronze Age.
Oh, you're going way back, right? Because in the more modern day, Swansea in Wales, they call it King Copper, and it was, in the 1800s, the biggest copper export.
Oh no, these are the copper fields. This is the BC times.
Well, you need copper to make bronze, don't you?
Right.
Otherwise you can't make it. But yeah, in the when Swansea was producing it, it was to go. Apparently, the narrative is the copper was to go on the hulls of the ships of the British Navy, which were apparently only wooden up until that period. Then they, put copper on them, and eventually, like in no time at all, they're giant, massive steel juggernauts of 20,000 tons. In literally 20 years, they've gone from wooden to like the ships you see in the American Civil War, the ironclads. Have you ever seen them? The ironclads?
Yeah.
So they're just like drafted to the water.
Oh yeah, ironclads are awesome. I just saw Stellium 7's name. I got him
Mike,
on.
yeah.
I got Mike on my list too for a podcast.
Yeah.
I think we have a date set up. I got to look on my list again. Stellium, I know you sent me an email back because I put you on my calendar. Let's see.
I was interested in what you said about that Texas wall and all of that deep stuff in Texas. That's definitely.
I'm still thinking about going there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still thinking about taking you there. Guy, we have a place called Rockwall, Texas, and the establishment has done an injury, which they always do, trying to cover it up. But the locals know better. And subsurface interface radar, LIDAR, whatever.
Yeah.
they've tried to explain it away as a natural formation, and the way they did this is they excavated a small little 20-foot section, and they found an area that could kind of pass for natural. But in order to show that on video and then try to dismiss the whole thing, they have to ignore the other 20 miles of wall, which is 70 foot high, and it's like 30 feet thick. It is an ancient megalithic wall similar to some of those we find in the ancient Near East. And this wall in Texas is underground, but it is uniform. It is not a natural deal. The entire wall's perimeter all the way around has been measured at precisely 515 feet above sea level, meaning this isn't natural. It doesn't flow. It doesn't go. This is a construction, and it was perfectly level at the top. And there are really good original photographs of the rock wall when it was being excavated in the 1890s all the way up, 1870s all the way up till about World War II. And in these pictures, you show huge joints and bricks and even windows. It shows all these things in there, but the establishment has done a really good job just dismissing this based off one person going and showing a part of the wall that looks kind of natural, but they ignored all the actual construction parts. Wall is gigantic, and I'm thinking about taking him there to talk to some locals and look at the local photographs, and I'm thinking about doing that.
How many stories did you say it was?
It's a 4-hour drive from where we're at.
Yeah.
7 stories high.
7 stories high.
Yep, 7 stories high. I mean, we have ancient constructions in the Near East that were that tall too, but ziggurats were huge, but still, this was a wall, and because it's buried here in Texas, like I've shown you guys many presentations. North America is not like the rest of the world. Ancient ruined cities, and all that stuff. They're still on the surface. Like Zimbabwe and Africa, a Phoenician trading post that kind of turned into a city in Africa. And we have all these African cities that were just slightly under the desert, and then Mediterranean and Greece. Everything's relatively close to the surface. Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa. You guys know I like to talk about Reshemra and Ugarit. These are huge metropolises in northern Syria that were widely known. Strongholds of the Amuru. Guys, North America is not like that. North America, everything's found at 60, 70 feet to 200 foot depth. And in some areas like Heavener, Oklahoma, artifacts have been found 2 miles below the surface of the earth. So, and it's always found by these oil companies and mining companies. And you got to read like the Source Book Project. They don't publish this guy no more. William Corliss was exposing it all. Forbidden Archaeology talks about the well shafts and all the human artifacts that have been found. Whatever happened in North America, it was a resurfacing. It was basically depositing a whole nother land surface from somewhere else on top of North America. And it buried cities. It buried civilizations. Wow. And it was in recent history. It was not. And when I say recent, I'm talking about the last few thousand years or so. But these things are amazing. And the handbook to puzzling and amazing artifacts, you're going to see hundreds of things that have been found right here in the United States, but they've all been found at great depth. So to find a 70-foot high wall that's 20 miles in circumference, and it's a perfect rectangle. It's not going in all different directions. Yeah. It's a perfect rectangle, and you can be seen from the sky. Listen, guys, that's a vapor canopy wall. It's just like the other constructions that I have gone to in great depth about, showing you guys that the architecture in the cities that were built during the vapor canopy are fundamentally different to those after the collapse of the vapor canopy. Humans during vapor canopy times did not fear other humans. They feared creatures. Even insects were gigantic. So yeah, there was reasons we had those walls. That was really good, Martin. That was an awesome presentation, man.
Thank you. I
know you got it.
Hope they enjoyed it.
I know you got thousands and thousands of more images to show.
I have more presentations and all sorts, but we'll get to them later.
You guys want to see him in the Archaix studio again, give another presentation, let us know right here in the comment section.
Yeah, man.
It's really hard to keep my mouth shut. I ain't gonna lie. It's hard. But.
Yeah, that winds you up. So they Solicit Media kindly made that video for the Meet, our Meet. She made the video we posted yesterday.
Who did?
Holistic Media, her name.
Oh, Holistic Media, yeah.
India, my friend. Yeah.
Oh, you know Holistic Media?
Yeah. She's my friend.
Okay. She's all over. She's all over Archaix too.
Yeah.
Been seeing her for like a year and a half.
Yeah, she's been my mate for years now.
That's good.
Met her a couple of times.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Also, my brother there, David, the one I was telling you about this morning, who was a soldier in the tanks.
Right.
Who never made his bed properly and ended up in the biggest tank battle since the Battle of Kursk. But this is him all over, David Mannell, who is a very brave man.
Well, it's pretty much across the board that you're expected to come back, bro. That's a lot of
awesome.
Comments. Okay, that's enough. Well, we'll bring him back.
Okay, thanks.
We still got plenty. Excuse me. We still got plenty of time.
Yeah.
Before the 10th. We got 10 days in June, and we still got 5 or 6 this month. But yeah, you know what? I think let's go ahead and do it. Let's go to Rockwall, Texas, and do a video.
Yeah.
Let's go check it out. Talk to the locals.
That would be fantastic if we could do something like that.
Yeah, you know what?
Because I got the Victorian photographs, the old photographs when they found it.
Yeah, there's some really good photographs from it. But you pull up your old photographs, and I'm pretty sure the locals are going to have some for us to see too.
Maybe the locals will know more. That's the best thing to do. Yeah, that might be worth a look. Is it far?
Oh, it's a 4-hour drive.
4-hour drive.
Hell, I just took 2 trips for a lot longer than that.
So that's around the corner in Texas.
Yeah. We can go 4 hours north and get to Rockwall, Texas, or we can drive 9 hours straight west and still be in Texas at El Paso.
Wow. That's mental.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So big.
It's crazy.
So let's have a look at the chat feed. We got any questions or anything going on for Jax? Do a van vlog on the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, Martin, you ain't done a van vlog.
Well, I've got a van, but I would do a van vlog.
Well, I'm going to put you in the van vlog mobile.
Okay, then that's really good.
I'm just not going to let you drive.
Don't let me drive.
Yeah.
It's not trustworthy.
It's great.
Okay. Yeah, there's a few of my peep shirts, Will. Oh, yeah.
So how long are we on? 84 minutes ago. Wow.
Wow, that went
good
quick.
Presentation. Yeah, I'm excited about these guys. I'm excited about this video I'm going to do with these cards.
Yeah.
Because these little cigarette pack cards from the 1920s are packed.
The juice they give you, and they tell you, some of them are like really obscure, like the crystal of so-and-so, which is like, I'm like, well, I've never read about that. Where's this information coming from?
Yeah, this is crazy. I got to, these are fantastic. I don't know if y'all can see these. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they're coming up.
But the back of them, Dawn Anderson did an awesome job finding these. Donated them to Archaix. She basically donated them to all of you guys because I'm about to do a video. I'm reading every card and doing my Archaix commentary on them. So this is 50 cards. So this may be 10 different videos because you guys know how I run my mouth as soon as I'm triggered and I read something. That's my characteristic.
Yeah.
I'm gone. They're awesome.
I do the very same.
They're awesome. Okay, check this out. We still got a little bit of time left. So how about let's do some Q&A just for Martin.
Okay, that'd be cool.
Don't aim them at me. Jason's not answering any questions right now. I'm going to look at this chat. If you got any questions for Martin, make sure they're in all caps. They need to be in all caps so I can distinguish them from your internal chat and what you're trying to ask Martin.
Okay. Do that then.
All right, Rhonda Engel, first question. Martin, can I take you to dinner?
No, you can't run to love. I'm taken.
There it is.
Taken. Gone.
Oh,
Never.
Rhonda Engel says in Rockwall. Well, if you're in Rockwall and you want to entertain us for dinner, then I'm pretty sure that we can make allowances.
Yeah, he's in Rockwall, is he? One of our people.
She's in Rockwall.
She is.
Rhonda Engel.
That's cool. Yeah.
In Rockwall. Yeah, we're definitely coming to Rockwall because we need to go ahead and do this video while he's in Texas.
Be really cool.
And if we meet any dangerous individuals, you got that new knife.
Yeah, see what? Oh, look at this. Oh, yeah. Check this out. This is what, and you're allowed to do this in Texas. This is what Jason gave me as a gift. It's my bestest gift ever. Don't know if you can see that. Okay. Nice, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes. It's a beautiful make as well. It's a nice solid.
I got to make
knife.
sure he's got something.
Yeah.
Sometimes we go
carry that round.
Go in some weird places.
Yeah, we do go to some weird places and weird stuff happens, but we're all right. I look after you, Jason.
Yeah. Make sure nobody gets me.
Yeah. I'll be your bodyguard.
Let's see.
What we got then?
Yeah, man. So let's look at some of these questions here.
Okay. Martin, do you believe we will see the golden age again? Yes, I very much do, Lynn. And I do think that, not to give, words to experience, but I really do think that we are the indigo children. And I really do think that we're ushering in the new elevation of consciousness for everybody in this place. And that is definitely coming. That's the most important thing. All of history waking up, all simultaneously, all across every time span, all at the same second. There's not going to be any stopping it, and it is definitely coming. Millions, if not tens of millions, are waking up to the bullshit of this place, the dialectics and how they play us. People are empowering themselves because they gave away their power too easily, not realizing that they did have all of this weird shit through consent when you didn't actually have to consent to anything at all. And then people are starting to now empower themselves and be the captain of their own ships. Okay, being the captain of their soul.
Be careful using that maritime lingo.
Yeah, well, I am a sailor, so I'll get away with it. They all know I'm ex-merchant navy. So yeah, be the captain of your soul and empower yourself to, to be brave in this place and be fearless, because that's the only way to do it. And never doubt. Always drive forward to the next goal. Always, in our case, I like to help people. Jason's exactly the same. He's always thinking about other people all of the time. So that's what we'd like to do, We're the indigo children, and we're ushering in a new paradigm or a new epoch for the whole of humanity. And it's coming, whether you like it or not. And it's going to be beautiful, by the way.
So somebody's asking about the Eye of Sahara, the Archaix structure.
Yeah.
Could it be, a lot of people ask this, could it be the location of the lost Atlantis?
Well, they say that, don't they?
Yeah, so I would like to comment on that real quick. Any archaeologist or anybody who studied archaeology will know that structuring, you see what looks like canal works in concentric rings. This was not uncommon. It's precisely how Carthage was laid out. This is exactly how the Romans described Carthage. I'm not saying that's Carthage because we know the location of Carthage today, but most of Carthage was destroyed in a massive Mediterranean tsunami in the year 365, which is the subject matter for a very obscure book. Only one copy of this book has ever survived, and it's called Sacred History. It is Ammianus Marcellinus. And Ammianus Marcellinus described this amazing tsunami where the ocean disappeared. It destroyed Alexandria, the ruins of Carthage. Well, Carthage was already in ruins, but it had been repopulated, and it was absolutely destroyed. Then the same tsunami that left North Africa crossed over the Mediterranean and deposited ships all over the mountains of Greece. So it was a pretty big event in 365 AD. Now, the Archaix structure you're talking about being the Eye of Sahara,
yeah.
I don't know about if it could be Atlantis, but I'm pretty sure, because we know about Diodorus Siculus, that could have been some city that we just don't know what the name is.
They're similar, the canals and the concentric rings, with the eye. But there's another place that they cited that could be something to do with Atlantis outside of Cadiz in Spain. Have you seen it? Mm-hmm. It's exactly the same, but looks on a smaller scale.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. It's where they found that famous statue of that white pasty lady with the Star Wars curls.
Yeah, that Phoenician lady. Yeah.
Excuse me.
Gesundheit.
You knew better. You already know. I always sneeze twice.
Yeah, man.
I can never sneeze once or three times. It's always twice.
Never deny a sneeze.
But I would rather sneeze than cough.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that's an interesting question. I just don't know.
It is interesting. I've often thought about it. I've looked at it a dozen times. I don't know. I've got different ideas of what I think's going on. The thing looks like it's been vitrified in a lot of places.
Front row seat. Can you move to Texas?
Who's this for me?
Yeah, it's front row seat. All right. Let's see. All right. I don't know if this is relevant. I'm going to ask it because it's here. How about chemtrails? What do you think? No more blue skies.
I think that it's attached to fear. is what I think. And anything with a negative connotation and fear to it, it's got to be a source from them. I'm not saying that I don't think that they can manipulate the weather, because I've got evidence I was going to show in today's post that, they were doing weather manipulation in the 1800s. Now, they can create weather, they can seed weather, they've been doing it all along. So the chemtrails, what is in them? Now, there is definitely a difference between contrails and chemtrails. They definitely lay this out in a grid pattern, but everyone jumps to conclusions and says, well, this is nefarious. They're going to just dumping all shit on everybody and making everybody ill or nutty. Well, would they basically poison themselves? Because they've got to sit under the chemtrails too, haven't they? The elites, or the other half. So is it the case that they've had some sort of tablet so that they won't get affected by whatever is happening? Or is it the case that the chemtrails are up there to try and prolong the safe zone before a reset? What I'm trying to say is maybe the chemtrails are there to help rather than to hinder. Same token, they do block out the sun rays at the end of the day, so limiting our exposure to the sun, and that might be, something to do with it. But
well, they certainly don't block. They certainly don't stop blue skies. You've seen nothing but blue skies since you've been here.
Yeah, I haven't seen any, chem deaf sky here, but where I am in Wales, there's a chem deaf sky all the time. Oh, well. But I'm in two minds whether or not it's that they're just trying to kill everyone. I've got poison everyone, and the aluminium and the barium that's supposed to be in these things. It's just words. I haven't got any evidence that this is the case. And apparently the aluminium falls into the bottom of watercourses and lands in the mud anyway, which makes it completely inert and, not dangerous at all, because we're not drinking the mud out the bottom of rivers. So do I think that it's real? Yes. Do I think it's them having a go at us? Not completely, no. There may be more going on. Something to do with the resets, though. I definitely think so. Also, the fracking. I think the fracking is something to do with the resets as well. Pouring all of that solution into the ground seems a little bit too much like an electrolyte to me. So
interesting. Mm-hmm. Somebody asking you, what are your thoughts on Operation High Jump and Admiral Beard?
Well, whatever happened there, we got limited information about, isn't it? It's only the official narratives. I got a couple of books on the subject. I got to save videos. We looked at some slides the other day, which were of deep freeze. So it's intriguing, the name of high jump anyway. High jump, what, for an exploration of Antarctica? What they high jumping over? Deep freeze, a bit more self-explanatory, but not with high jump. Admiral Byrd is the youngest admiral in American history. He's sort of like a superhero in America. But, I'm not saying that his Freemasonic connections would mean that he was dishonest in anything that he was saying. I think that he gave us little bits of truth. I think what he said on the Chronoscope TV appearance in the 1950s, the Chronoscope? I can't remember what the full name of that program is. But he says there's an area larger than America that's never been set eyes on by human beings, that is past Little America, the community that they had set up there. So an area bigger than America that's never been set eyes on, full of natural resources. So what I think is when they went there, they found something. Maybe they found the edge of the dome. Maybe they found out, that the dome is glitching out at the ends. Maybe, unrendered, what have you. But they definitely said, stop, you people are never going to be able to come here. Okay, the place is just separated out to different countries. The Antarctica Treaty gets brought in straight after deep freeze, and I can't help thinking, when you have a treaty, you have to draw a treaty with somebody. So who is the treaty actually signed with? Is what I'm thinking. And so you go past the 60th latitude line south, things get strange. You're not even allowed to smoke a cigarette, pollute the air, or anything. Yeah, they say this is for scientific purposes to be down there. Yeah, the only thing that's come out of there is zero. of scientific discovery, which, you know, it's just rubbish. It's just,
Yes.
yeah. And they say then they got to keep it pristine. Well, I've got evidence that they were taking nuclear powered generators there in the 1950s and just carving massive underground installations and stuff. So I definitely think that Admiral Byrd is what you call a gatekeeper or what have you. But I definitely think that guy's given us little bits of truth, especially with concerning the North Pole, which I definitely think there's more going on with, and the South Pole, apparently the South Pole, Antarctica. I definitely think there's more going in. I definitely think that it's an ice ring that surrounds the whole of the azimuthal equidistant flat Earth map. It's rised up above us. We're down below it. We're in, if you like a puddle or a pond, and the whole of the ice wall is up above us. And, you know, you explained about that reset. That blew my mind concerning the equatorial plane. That was just mind-blowing, and it made so much sense to the reset. So, yeah, little bits of truth, a little bits of lies, but it is, you know, anybody who's got like a major voice in historical narrative, you know, they got to watch what they say.
There's also the fact that, I mean, being such an important discovery in Antarctica, he would have been forced to sign NDAs. U.S. military is not going to let him go public with all the information.
No way.
It's not going to let him.
No, he signed this Official Secrets Act. He can't come out and say what they found. But, you know, since the last few years, whatever has happened, there is something definitely going on in Antarctica. They're needing forklift drivers. All of these famous people in history, Senator Kelly, Patriarch Kirill, you know, the leader of the Russian Orthodox Church. What the hell is he doing in Antarctica? Smelly Kelly, Buzz Aldrin, although he gets flown out and ends up in Chile, apparently. So, you know, I always used to think you used to have to acclimatise to go to Antarctica, spend, you know, a few years in a cold climate, maybe climb an Andean mountain, you know, to get acclimatised to be able to go to these extreme temperatures. But apparently that's not the case. They literally fly Senator Kelly over and then fly him back, like no problem whatsoever. You know, just visit for the day, look at a few penguins apparently, and then off again. There's something else going on.
Well, with so much preparations going on at this point in time with Antarctica that we've been able to see, like you and I saw the slides of the U.S. military transport planes that are landing on the packed ice. Oh, so this is back in 1953. And we know that, like, the royal family and others have been buying real estate
that's true.
All around Australia, but underwater. So, guys, remember, I told you that the next Phoenix phenomenon is going to bring the vapor canopy back. And this is where all that ice buildup came from. When the vapor canopy collapsed, all this cooled temperature and cooled humidity, it went straight to that area and became 2 mile high ice cap. The snow fell. It was very rapid. It's not like the uniformitarians say that it took hundreds of thousands and millions of years for this to build up. It did not. And proof of this is the fact that even today, barely 1 inch of snow even falls in Antarctica.
Nope.
And this is a problem. So it shows that was recent. Further, the proof that it is recent is that we have maps.
That's so interesting.
We have maps.
Yeah.
So, and maps don't last a long time. So we can go back maybe 1,000. I mean, our maps only go back 400 and 500 years, but they're indicative of a knowledge about 1,000 years ago. And the maps that we have show Antarctica free of ice.
Yeah, Pierre Reese maps.
Not only that, but what's the other map? The Archaix Phineas map shows the numeric altitudes of the mountains in Antarctica. There's no way unless somebody had went and surveyed that when it was ice free. Yeah. So in order to, I mean, I've even quoted on my channel U.S. Naval intelligence officer where he says straight out, he says for these ancient maps to be true, then it would have required an advanced survey to have gone there when the ice was not there. So it's these aren't conjectural. These are pieces of the puzzle we've been putting together. The vapor canopy collapse only takes 1 day. So that moisture from the vapor canopy has to go somewhere, and in all that cooling, it goes to the extremities. And this is what it does. It creates this ice pack, but it also disappears rapidly as well. And when the vapor canopy returns, it's going to be rapid. All it takes is volcanic activity. As soon as that volcanic activity happens, it doesn't even take a lot of volcanoes, but as soon as that ash and pumice begins to blanket the lower mesosphere, the upper mesosphere then traps all the red cosmic dust. Wherever that dust is coming from, we don't know. We just know that every 138 years it blankets this world. I've even theorized that these red brick structures may be getting their material, because it's not just United States. It's the UK, Australia, places in Europe. Where are they getting all this access to this red brick only during this one period of time? So it's this red fallout is the subject matter of Archaix. I tell you guys all the time. We have so many scientific reports of red mud and red dust and red rain falling during these 138-year episodes. So it's all these individual pieces that different researchers put together that's going to form a whole picture. But it's not one of us have all the answers, and that's why these type of get-togethers between Martin and I, they need to be done more throughout the truther community. Because the more networking we do, the more we're going to find, because it's the isolation of common denominators where true knowledge is born. It is not identifying all the particulars where we differ, because that's what everybody does, and they never grow and they never learn anything. All they do is argue, and then by virtue of negative emotions, there's no longer any more communication. People watch those interviews and they're turned off by it, and nothing ever good comes of that. So when we focus on the common denominators, that's when we find out that there's a lot of crossover, and that we can put these pieces together. I've learned a lot from Martin. I'm not done either. And just this contact for this 35, 40 days that he's here is you're going to see the trajectory of Archaix research change a little bit of direction. And that leads to one of these questions here. Somebody in this said, Martin, how has your contact with Jason basically affected your
same
viewpoints?
There's a lot of the information that come out from you in the last week of stuff that's blown my mind, guys, and the similarities in our research are overlapping. So I think that I've learned a lot, and I'm going to learn a lot more. And these old books, there's the juice in these guys, and Jason's like me, he's a workaholic. This guy never ever stops, guys. It's all Archaix. You wouldn't even believe it. The machine is just total work. You wouldn't even fathom how much work that is getting done. And I'm the same. I'm exactly the same.
We are very similar
so
that.
We are similar. So we're both, we can crunch the information, the data, and, between us two, two heads together is better than one, guys, and we're thinking this out. If this was expanded across the community, the answers that we will get in puzzle pieces would be fantastical. And it is already. We've already, made a few discoveries in the last week. It's mind-blowing stuff, guys. It really is. So that should be encouraged. I really do feel that great things will happen and are happening. Okay, and it is, it's up in the ante, it's up in the game to a new realm of information and learning, and the data set. We're up in the ante. Getting some real answers, and sharing everything that we learn and discover with you guys, which is a beautiful thing. Fantastic
100%.
thing. Yeah.
100%. All right, guys, we got more Martin on the way.
Yes.
We'll be coming back in the live studio in a couple days and do this all over again. I'll probably be getting nosy, going through his files, looking for some more gems, because there's a whole bunch of them. There's hundreds of videos in his files, just like mine. It's crazy. So we're going to find something to do. Believe that.
Yeah.
It's going to be an awesome presentation. I appreciate you guys who have donated. I will go through here and I will give Martin the cash out of my pocket today for the donations that were put in here on this chat that were saying designated for Martin.
Thanks, guys.
Give him some zooms and wham whams money. And yeah, man, that's what it is here. That's what it is here.
I'm loving it. I want to just say, the way everyone in America has treated me has been fantastic. You guys just absolutely rock. I've been made so welcome. Everyone is so happy that I'm here in America. All the Americans, they're like, oh, I'm so glad you're here. and everyone's just been so welcoming. They're the best hosts you can imagine. You know, I just tell everybody this is the best place in the world, no doubt about it. And Texas is better than the rest of it. Texas is where it's at.
Texas is a great place.
It's a great place. So beautiful, really beautiful place. Wow, so beautiful. But I've been eaten alive by mosquitoes, I'm afraid.
Yes, he has.
I got like there, and all over my body, I'm covered in holes.
What was crazy, I mean, you should get eaten up mosquitoes. Ain't no self-respecting individuals gonna walk around like that. Gonna walk around like that all day. Man, that's crazy. I'm gonna take that back off.
Not good.
That's all good. Hey guys, love you guys.
Yeah, I love you guys. Thank you so much, guys.
Hit that like button on the way out. Share Flat Earth British. Share Archaix. If you guys know some other truthers out there who got their own platforms and they really want to talk, they want to talk to one of us. Hey man, forward our emails, do whatever. But Matt's gonna hit this outro, and guys, I really appreciate your attendance. And you want to go and say a word of bye?
Yeah, thanks so much, guys. You are absolutely fantastic. Love you all, and I will be back on my channel very soon, and hopefully back on Jason's. That would be fantastic too.
Awesome.
So much love to you all. Flat thumbs.